Hey, tech builders, you ever heard of GraphRAG? It's the next generation of being able to use your own data with language learning models with AI. I recently had a conversation with a good friend of mine who is the director of AI for a very large company. And he told me if you want to get into AI, there's a couple things you should do. One, learn GraphRAG, and the other is learn AI agents. So I'm going to do some tutorials on learning GraphRAG and learning AI. So today we're going to talk about GraphRAG. What is it? How does it work? And then we're actually going to do our first tutorial. So in a typical AI interaction, user asks a question to ChatGPT or Grok, a language learning model, and it generates an answer. So the answer is generated based on all the general knowledge that's been fed into the language learning model. In a GraphRAG system, user sends in a question, and it actually goes to private knowledge first, so whatever you've fed it or trained it on, and then the question and the private knowledge is sent off to the language learning model, and it forms an answer that is based upon your private information. And so it actually gives something that's more focused, specifically for your task. So the benefits of GraphRAG. So smart answers, so it connects the dots between my ideas better for more helpful responses. And there's fewer mistakes because it actually has a map to be able to get the things out that you're asking it about. And it can figure out answers by linking lots of clues together. So it can really solve tricky questions. And it shows its work because you're able to actually go back and look at how it derived its answers because you have all of the base information that it derived its answers for. And it works for anything, whether that's healthcare or business or anything that you're actually in, it actually works for that. So the GraphRAG flow is, so we take our raw data, and which could be documents, PDFs, images, whatever it is that we're working with. We send it into Quadrant, which actually takes it into searchable pieces, and then puts it into Neo4j, which maps the connections between all of those pieces, and then it goes to the language learning model, and then it generates an answer. So here's an example. So the question is, who works with Dr. Smith at Hospital X? Quadrant finds the Hospital X documents. Neo4j maps Dr. Smith to colleagues, Nurse Jane, Dr. Lee. The language learning model processes all of this knowledge to provide a natural language response. Dr. Smith works with Nurse Jane and Dr. Lee at Hospital X. So that's kind of like a really, really high-level view of what GraphRAG is. But the idea is you can take your private information, your custom information, and use it along with the user prompts to feed into an AI model and get an answer that is specific to your data. So we're going to move on, and we're actually going to do our first lesson. So here we are in Grok. I decided that I was going to let AI teach me AI. First time I'd ever thought about doing something like that, but figured why not? If you're like me, you've ever tried any of the high-tech tutorials, kind of cutting-edge kind of stuff, you'll find that there's things change, and the tutorial might be outdated, or whoever wrote the tutorial might assume you know certain things that you don't, or they might just generally skip over things, and then you end up kind of with a broken tutorial halfway through, and now you can't even finish it. So I figured with AI actually giving me the tutorial, I can actually ask it questions if I run into any problems. So I wrote a prompt earlier, and let me read this to you. I wanted to learn GraphRAG using Quadrant, Neo4j, and N8N. Where did I get those? I got those from my AI buddy that told me what exactly I should be learning. And I want a step-by-step tutorials that are a max of 30 minutes in length. It needs to start with describing the tools and how they relate to each other. The first lesson should be that, as well as installing the necessary tools. Every day I'll come and ask for the next 30-minute lesson. So take your time and do a good job. Let's put good job. How about great? Do a great job as an instructor teaching me the skills I requested. I would also like the tools installed with Docker. So if you're not familiar with that, that actually allows you to download images of these apps and run them in a virtual environment. And so I prefer to do that whenever possible because it allows me to have a good clean installation. And if I break it, especially during a tutorial, You can break things pretty easily when you don't really know what you're doing. I can always revert right back to the original, start over if I have to, very quick and easy. All right, it's going to think. It's going to get out there and look at some resources. Well, let's see, looking at a post, looks at some web pages, and here we are. So it's going to give me all of my lessons. So it's going to be my first lesson, which is pretty cool. So it's going to be about 30 minutes. It's going to understand what the tools are and going to install them using Docker. So this is really awesome because this is actually telling me what each of the things is. So what's GraphRAG? As we saw, it's an advanced approach to retrieval augmented generation. Traditional RAG retrieves text chunks from a vector database to enhance AI responses. And it continues on. I'm not going to read through all of this, but what I will do is I will, on my website, and I'll put a link down below in the description, I will actually put a link to be able to download each day's text. So each of these tutorials, you'll have the full text. And so I will continue working here and see where we go. So first we have to install Docker Desktop. So let's hop over to docker.com. And I actually have, let's see. Okay, so download for AMD 64. And let's see if it gets started here. Okay, so that started, right? All right, and so this is going to take a few minutes. See, I actually have installed it. I did it when I was testing here, so I downloaded it before. So I probably can just, could probably stop this, and we will just go here. There we go. All right. So I will just leave those as the default. All right, so the next thing we're going to want to do after this is I'm going to open up PowerShell. It's going to be our terminal window. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this over here, and I'll put this over here, and let's do, let's zoom in here a little bit, make this a little easier to read, right? And let's see what's this doing. It's still working on it. Yeah, this is definitely hurry up and wait, right? Let's see, what is my, so verified Docker is running, so we can either copy it and paste it. So let's scroll down here. Oh, there we go. Now it's succeeded. I don't know. Is it running? Will it run? Let's find out. Thought it would start it up, but there we go. Accept. I'm sorry, should I have read that? So I'm going to use this for personal. I guess it could be for work, but it's really for personal. Continue. It's going to ask me, I think, to create an account. Oh, actually, I guess we could have skipped this, right? And we'll skip that. Okay, so I'm going to skip all that for now. You can go ahead and set all that up if you'd like. All right, so look, we've got Docker running here. Right? All right. Ooh, new version available, huh? Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. So then we're just going to run this real quick. See, we do have a problem because it's not part of the path. So this is where tutorials are entries. If not, troubleshoot your Docker installation. Okay, so the problem is, and this is how you can actually troubleshoot this. So we can copy this, copy, and I can paste it in here. All right, and so now I can see what the problem was. So I downloaded it. It says, yeah, it says that you actually need to reboot. Now, can I do so? Probably, I could probably actually fix it. I wonder. Let's see if this actually works. Now, that didn't work because I don't know where Docker's installed. Let's try this. Oops. Let's do a WinS. It says environment variables, right? Edit system variables. It's like it's system variables. That's user variables. That's system variables. And doesn't actually say. Yeah, it's actually letting me do that. I will click environment variables. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. It's like, why didn't that work? Oh, I see. To module path. There we go. See where to install. Locker resources bin. Gotcha. All right, so let's try this. Just needed to restart PowerShell. There you go. So that's an interesting one. So my path was already in there, but PowerShell didn't have the right path. Just needed to be restarted. So that's interesting. So, all right, so good to go here. So let's go back up here and continue on. So if you do run into any problems, you can always paste the tutorial text into AI. It could be ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, whatever it is that you work on. I'm actually using Grok right now because I've actually got to be very fast compared to some of the other ones. All right, so we actually have that running. So now let's look at this. Now I always double check because you never know. You want to make sure it's not malicious. Docker run, Neo4j, here's the ports, Neo4j password. I'm just going to leave it as password. I mean, obviously you don't want to leave it as password in production environment, but we're doing tutorials here. Let's keep it easy. All right, so it's going to pull the Neo4j. See, and it even goes through and tells you what all of these are, right? So once this is done, we'll actually open this up and we should be able to see the browser interface. All right. Now, if you look down here, this is actually pretty cool. You can see Neo4j is now installed in our Docker. So that's very, very nice. And see, this is the other beauty part. There was no configuration because it's all pre-configured. It just does that and it runs, and it's very simple. So you don't have to go to a website, download the Docker, like the whole thing. So it's actually, there it is. Password user is Neo4j. Password is password, as you can see up here, Neo4j and password. I'm sorry, let me zoom this in again. I guess I forgot to do that. And there we go. And then it's connected. Yeah, change your password. It didn't like didn't like that. All right. So now we've got that running. Neo4j is working. So now let's look at Quadrant. That's the port Quadrant in Quadrant. All right. That's awesome. And then the next one is N8N. So pretty quick and easy here. Just stepping right through it. And then this one, we can also check the website. And there we go, Quadrant Vector Search Engine. So it's actually running out the right per. So that's easy. And let's look at N8N. What's this doing? Sets admin password is admin123. We'll need that, so just remember. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So perhaps I need to sign in. Very interesting. All right, that's fine. Let's sign in. I will continue with my GitHub. Let's see, what is it? Boy, I don't remember what it is. It's been so long. Oh, I remember what it is now. Oh, gotta look at my, authentication code. All right, well, I don't think it matters, but let's do this. All right, so here we are. All right, so there we go. So now we're signed in. So let's see if this will work. Ooh, it did not like that. Well, let's see what, once again, see, this is the beauty thing about doing this with AI, is that if you were working on a tutorial that was on someone had written and you're having these problems, who do you ask? Now it's a matter of going and searching down the right answers, trying to figure out what's going on. And so here, let's see, correctly pull and run the N8N container. See, there we go. It just has the wrong Docker. So it can make mistakes. And there we have it. All right, so the issue wasn't that I wasn't signed in. It just had the wrong container. So that's pretty awesome. So now it's talking about running some command line stuff, Docker PS, Docker logs, this kind of thing. But you can also actually look down here to see if it's running an actual Docker desktop. All right, and there we go. Look at that. It's running. Okay. And so you can also go down here and you can click these links. You can see it's localhost 5678, localhost 5678. Boom, there you go. So let's do this. Let's see. I'm Paul at Tech Talks with Paul Duck. Password. Ooh. Let's see. Never. Oh, I don't know. Education, which best describes you. Engineering, sure. No idea. Should go. Ooh. GraphRAG. For myself for now. Should company less than 20 and other. This is friend. Probably colleague would be more. Oh, let's see some free license key. This is kind of neat. So you can actually get some of the paid features. Workflow history, advanced debugging, execution, search, and tagging. You can skip it, but I wouldn't. Get your free license key. There we go. So now we have N8N running. So that's actually really awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to let it know that, wow, that was awesome. Now it's kind of crazy, but, telling AI it did a wonderful job is always a good idea because it's interesting because it actually learns from the human experience that it's seen online. And what it has actually learned is when people use certain type of language and verbiage, then people don't respond as openly and don't provide as much information. But if you actually provide kindness and other things like that, then actually it responds more verbose. And so you'll actually find that AI actually acts that way, not because it has emotions, but because that's what it's actually been taught. So it's an interesting thing. That's awesome. You did a great job. Great job, and your help was appreciated. Was appreciated. I look forward to tomorrow's lesson. All right. So that was the end of that. So let me close this now. So what we ended up here was we actually asked Grok for a lesson on installing these tools. It taught us about what the tools were, how they interact, what they're used for, and then actually stepped us through installing them and testing to make sure that they were installed properly. And there were a couple gotchas that we ran into that we were able to actually paste back into Grok and get it to actually assist us. So to be honest, this was a good first lesson. I don't know if we're all going to go this smoothly, but to be honest, I was pretty impressed with this. So follow along. I will put a link to my website where you can actually go over and actually see the text of this lesson, so you can download it. And then if you register with your email, you'll actually get access to be able to see this entire installation video step by step. And I appreciate you watching, and please like and subscribe. Until next time, keep building awesome tech.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.